Hey, this is Matthew Harvey here with the 12 o'clock Siren, recording live at the 903 Broadband Studios at the Cowboy Corner on the southeast side of the downtown Leonard Square. On my left hand is James Carone, not for me, Hartley.
Yeah, and I was wondering how quick it would come up, but, kind of had to.
Welcome back, dude.
Thanks, man.
Glad to see you back and healthy and
upright
and testing negative.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too.
Cool.
It was touch and go for a minute.
Yeah.
And it was like the man flu, but worse.
Well, we're glad to have you back and glad to be back here recording. We have got some exciting guests coming up. I'm excited about them. Some ladies from Pyrotex, Mrs. Paige and Linda.
Hello. How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
We are well.
Terrific.
So chatting here before the show, you ladies are co-owners, right?
Yes.
So, and you are the late owner's widows. That's correct.
Yes.
How long ago did he start this business?
Oh gosh, back in the 80s.
Yeah, he started in 1979. It was originally in Carrollton, and then he moved out to Leonard mid-90s, I believe, in
That's
94.
when he bought the property. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It really was Leonard's best kept secret for a
Yeah.
while, because I
Well-
didn't know about it until it was like 2005.
Actually, what's funny is how do I say this? The coffee drinkers at the Quick Check, they all knew Randy.
Oh, sure.
The older gentlemen all knew
Sure.
Randy, and they
Okay.
referred to him as that firecracker boy.
I aspire to be a coffee drinker.
I knew all
When
the
I grew
coffee
up.
drinkers in Celeste Quick Check.
Yeah.
I was in with that crowd.
Yeah. So where is in just what general vicinity is the property at? Just I don't even know.
Down on 1553.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha.
Everything's on that road.
Out by me, kind
That's
of.
right.
Yeah, you can probably see
Jeez.
them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
When they get into their displays or whatever, we're going to get into that.
Oh, yeah.
So how did he start it and why did he start it and how do you get into a pyro? These ladies do fireworks shows, by the way, and if you were in Leonard for the picnic, the one thing we did get to enjoy this year was your display. So I want to thank y'all
you.
very much for that. I saw it and I thought it was fantastic. I don't think you did.
No,
And there's that applause again.
there it is.
That's how good it was. It was cool. Was it
Thank you.
13 minutes?
Roughly.
Yeah.
And we have
I
a
estimate.
fabulous designer by the name of Patrick Mahaffey who designed the show. So
Yeah, it was
I have
good.
to-
Did I see
give
some
him lots of credit.
shapes in it?
yes, there
Yes.
was.
Yeah, what were they?
There were
Yeah.
smiley faces
Yes,
and
we've had stars this year.
stars,
I've
boxes,
The cat face.
Man, I
Cool.
did miss it.
yes,
Yeah.
bow ties.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
We were directly across in between the Watson's house, I think, and where it was being shot on the on the other side of the lake in between.
Okay.
They had a beautiful view, by the way.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
My lord.
We moved in, or excuse me, we rolled in from Gulf Shores last night at 11, and we were driving by their houses, and Ashley said they had a good view for the fireworks.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We're
yeah.
talking about that tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, 13 minutes or so. Well done. Thank you very much. I think everybody enjoyed it. There's a lot of people that showed up.
Yeah.
Yes, there was. And it was funny because at like 9 o'clock, there was nobody out there but us.
And you're like, ooh.
And then about 9:15, I turned around and they were everywhere.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was great. It was great.
So how did he get into it and get it going?
Well, Randy worked at KVIL for a time. And I guess they were doing some changes or whatever. And he had just gotten married and went on his honeymoon down to Galveston. And he got a phone call. He was fired.
Oh.
And he had started his own video production company. And he was doing that for a bit. And he was getting phone calls from people. He was doing like stuff at car dealerships and things. And this one car dealership called him and said, "Hey, can you do fireworks
He's like, "Yeah."
or something?" And he's like, "Sure." And so, of course, he turned around and then did bunch of research and everything on how to do this. And that's kind of how Pyrotex was born.
Huh.
I like the energy. That's
and then
good
he
energy.
started concert pyro. So he
Yes.
actually was on the legislation committee to bring indoor pyro to the state of Texas.
Oh, wow.
And he had one of the licenses required, which is your special effects operator license. He had number
Number
one.
one.
Oh, wow.
Very
That's
cool.
cool.
And he's basically his first big client was the Bee Gees in 1979. He did an NBC or CBS special, I believe, for them.
In Dallas.
And
Wow.
he blew up some indoor pyro for them during tragedy.
Tragedy.
No way.
And from then on, he worked for Lionel Richie and the Commodores and Reba McEntire.
He wasn't the
and-
one
Cool.
working for Metallica, was
No.
he? Okay, yeah.
You mean Great White?
No.
No.
David Bowie,
No.
Styx, then Lizzie, Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Then Lizzie. Now you're
yeah.
speaking my language. That's
Jeez.
awesome.
So every time I do a student discussion on career day, I just get some blank looks on faces because
Yeah, we're moving past that era.
they have no idea who these people
Yeah.
are. But he was actually in 2 movies as well, or big movies, Pure Country and
Yep.
Leap of Faith, which Linda just happened to be in the audience for Leap
I
of
was
Faith
an extra in the
Whoa.
movie.
when he was doing it.
So
Wow.
that was
Whoa.
cool.
So that was interesting. But Leap of Faith, you can actually see Randy. I watched it on TV a couple of years ago, and right when Steve Martin is about to change his jacket to a glittery
When he comes out with the mirror
mess,
jacket.
yeah, there's some smoke puffs, and those go off. Well, then if you look down at the bottom of the stage at Steve Martin's feet, you see a gentleman with his arms motioning kind of back and forth, and that's Randy pulling the stuff off the stage.
Pulling
Ah.
devices
Cool.
backwards. Yeah.
So-
And it's funny, your music from Dallas, Randy is actually the gentleman who blew up J.R. Ewing's car.
He did
Excuse
what?
me? Say it
He
again.
blew up J.R. Ewing's
Oh,
car.
wow.
Really?
Yes. He's the one that did the pyro for that.
Too
Wow.
cool.
For that.
A Dallas
yeah.
connection.
That's right.
I love it.
That's right.
So he's
This
done a lot
guy-
of fun stuff through the years.
I wish I'd
Yeah.
met this guy. He sounds like a
you
coffee
would've
drinker
loved
up at
him. He
Quick
was
Check.
great.
He fit right in.
I think it's funny because I automatically empathized when they asked him, said, "Hey, can you do pyro?" And he's like, "Yeah,"
Yeah.
because I think my boss would be probably mortified at how often I Google to do my own job. But this guy didn't have Google, and he's
He
dealing
just-
with explosives.
Yeah.
I like the
Exactly.
energy.
Actual
Exactly.
explosive.
Yeah.
Did he know R.C. Kuhn up there? Was he friendly with him? I'm sure he was.
I'm not
We had him
sure.
on the show.
I'm
That's
not
why I
sure.
asked. I
Yeah.
figured he was.
He might have. He
They
might have
They
known.
probably saw each other up there.
Yeah.
Wow, what a wild guy.
Yeah.
So he just had a little hand in everything, I guess.
Yes. Anything that had to do with TV or film or radio. I mean, he
What-
had the voice for radio, which was awesome.
What did he do at KVIL? Was that what you said?
He worked with Ron Chapman.
Oh,
wow, yeah.
So he didn't. I'm not exactly sure what it is he did
Wow.
there at the studio, but he did work there.
Cool.
He was actually, if he was here today, he would be doing this interview because he was
Yes.
always our radio
Yeah.
voice.
Yes.
And he
Oh, that's-
actually held a world record at one point for the longest radio broadcast when he went to school at SMU. And he held the world record for a hot minute for the
Ah.
longest radio broadcast. So
That's great.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
to see
man.
how many hours he could stay on the air, and he had the record until someone came back and
Wow.
beat him later.
So we got to go an hour today, don't we?
Yeah, we know.
Oh, his I can't remember what the record was, but
It
it
was
was like
over 36
72
hours.
hours.
Yeah, I
or
was going to
something.
say it was
yeah,
a
I'll-
good few days.
for a live show.
We can't do that.
Yeah.
right?
I'll
but-
tap out.
But we could do like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, we can do as long as you want, but
But not 72
not
hours.
72. I'll have
That's
to
funny.
light some fireworks or something.
So, started it in 79 there in Carrollton.
Yes, he actually started it in Carrollton. He had an office over off Tarpley Road, and he moved out here when he realized he just needed room to play. So we are actually on 80 acres out here, and I always say that it's fireworks and cows living in harmony. and now bees. We have
Oh,
an
yeah.
And
aviary
coyotes
as well.
and wild
Cool.
pigs. And
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he has shot all over the world, London, Tokyo, Dubai.
Dubai.
Wow.
Yeah, he always used to say his busiest day was he did a simultaneous fireworks show. I want to say it was for AT&T. It was for a telephone company that was starting a new long distance program. And so he was actually in Tokyo, London, Dubai, and LA doing simultaneous fireworks shows. And then the Cotton Bowl was that day. And so he did the Cotton Bowl halftime show at noon. And so he always says, I was really busy that day. I was like, yeah, you weren't at every one of those, but good try though.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I saw fireworks in London for New Year's Eve. On the
wow.
eye.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Friggin'
I bet that was
amazing.
awesome.
Where's that fancy button?
I got a video.
I can't remember what it is.
Oh man, I think it's a gun now. Yeah, it's a gun.
We need the fancy.
No, but that, we're gonna get to that. My best fireworks display was probably that one, and I'm sure y'all have some stories on that. But I wanted to clear up, like, what do y'all do exactly? Is it like packing and stuff? Is it taking raw materials? Is it taking pre-existing, like pre-packed stuff?
So
how's it all work?
We get our product, our shells, our big shells from China,
Okay.
actually. And then our ground effects we get from here in the States. And when they ship a container over with our pyro in it, we will take it, and then Patrick will design shell chains, and where you take the shells and you actually put them together to make our chains.
Shell chains.
Chains. That's
Okay.
multiple
Yeah.
shells on a chain. And Derek, our boss, so to speak, he will put out an email and say, hey, who's available to work to build shell chains? And we will have people come up there and start working, and that's all they do. They just sit there all day and make these shell chains.
Standardized, repeatable process, huh? I'm guessing it's very,
Same way every day.
yeah, same way every time, every
Yes.
day.
Pretty much.
only
yeah.
this is actually inside a building
Yes.
whose walls are styrofoam.
It's like making stuff in a cooler.
For protection. So
Yes.
basically, if anything were to happen, the pyrotechnician can either run through the wall, or if there was an
Or the
explosion,
explosion
it
would
would
blow
blow
you
them
through it.
through the wall versus hitting the wall.
Ooh, they thought of
So-
everything.
Yes.
Do the people that work there know that?
Yes.
Okay.
Adds a little level of excitement to
I would,
the job.
I would always,
We're all very careful when we're in that building.
I'd kind of always be tempted to run through the wall.
Well, the cows do that now, so
Oh, man.
we have to
I can
replace those every
How
once in
thick
a while.
is the styrofoam?
Oh, probably about
Oh, yeah.
2 inches,
I can
maybe
get
a little
some
bit
good
more.
inertia going.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
no sweat.
So you're getting like containers of pre-made like mortar
Of
shells,
shells, yes,
and then
different
just
sizes.
so those are kind of like your raw products or raw
Mhm.
materials that you guys just fashion based on design.
Yes,
I guess what they shoot and what the customer's looking for,
yes,
Correct.
or then and you guys probably do like a standard show
Yes.
and,
And
then
most
custom shows.
all of the
custom.
shows are customized for the
Yes.
client, and it kind of more depends on the colors of their event and the songs that they want to use. So Patrick Mahaffey, who Linda mentioned is our designer, our creative designer, he's also one of the other co-owners, as is Derek Willingham. And Patrick goes in with a computer system and listens to the song and matches up, and he knows
Just
how
like a lighting
long-
guy at a
yeah.
concert.
Yeah.
how long
Yeah.
something's going to burn. Because we have multiple products. We have the single individual shells, but we also have what are called ground effects boxes. And those are preloaded cardboard boxes that have multiple shells that go off at once.
Showers and that sort of
And
thing.
they
Yes.
also
Like,
do dancing like fan boxes back and forth and that kind
Fountain.
of thing.
So I have a question, and I got to say,
love fireworks.
well, we do, and I feel like there's something very Texan about the job of firework designer. Like I design
pretty
fireworks and do make things go boom, and people are like, hell yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you
that's
know
rocking, man.
what is the education that one gets? Because like I'll be honest, in my head, it's like some good old boy that's like, I just kind of grew up doing this in my backyard, But there's obviously some.
I think that was Randy.
So yes,
Yeah.
Randy
Well,
actually,
According to my
Randy,
notes.
yes.
Randy actually was, as I said, he was on the legislation committee to bring indoor here, but he also helped draft a lot of the original Texas State Fire Code.
Sure.
So he actually trained fire marshals, and we still do to this day, local and state fire marshals on how to inspect other people's fireworks shows. And we train them on the latest NFPA regulations, which is the Texas state regulations. And yeah, Randy just learned it over the years, and he was.
Experience. Yeah.
We
Did
were,
he pass that down to Patrick?
Yeah,
Yes.
so we were
Gotcha.
blessed enough to have that passed down. Derek, I said at camp, which I'm not sure if he really liked, but Derek is our general manager. He's been there the longest, so we actually still see him as the boss,
Sure.
even though we all have equal share in the company.
Right.
And I mentioned that he was our pencil pusher or paper pusher, and
Like
it
that.
is. He's in charge of all of the regulations. He's in charge of all of the permits. He's in charge of knowing
He's got the tribal
backwards and
knowledge.
Gotta
forwards.
know
Yeah.
everything.
what is
Yes.
legal and what is not, and he can tell you everything. He's also my IT person, so I call him for for everything. So
I'm an IT sales guy, just saying.
yeah, so he's all knowing. But yes, when Randy actually had some health issues before he passed away, and one of them, which I lovingly call his near-death experience, helped us out tremendously because we could learn what we needed to know if he was not here anymore.
Sure.
And so at that point, that was when he started training Patrick on how to design the fireworks shows, because until that point, Randy did have control over designing the fireworks shows.
Sure.
Before that, it went with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably would have put
yeah, sure
Pyrotex in a kind of a bind had
Yeah.
that not happened, huh?
We might be cutting and
What's in
pasting
it?
for a
Yes.
couple of shows before we
Yeah.
figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to get that stuff out. And
Replacing some styrofoam walls, probably.
Very good. When was the last show?
Have to ask me that. About a week ago. Actually, we have a show on Friday,
Okay.
tomorrow, for a wedding. But we've been doing weddings since June 26th was our first wedding back from quarantine, and we had 2 shows the weekend, or we had 4th of July, but then
Was
we had
that
2
at
shows the weekend
Magnolia?
after that. No, we actually have done Magnolia Grace Ranch, and I went to their open house that they just recently had.
I think that's when we were talking. You
Yes.
were doing that one, yeah.
Yes. And we've had a show probably, at least 1 to 2 shows every weekend since the 4th of July. As I said, just because we've had last minute calls of brides, especially that are moving venues out to someone's land, to just have a little bit more freedom with their mandates. And so they have smaller crowds. They obviously, have a smaller guest count. So they have a little bit more money in the funds all of a sudden, and they want to do something spectacular. So
Is
they've
a
added
fireworks show affordable for a wedding? Or, maybe birthday party or something? Is that
depends
something
on
that
where
you're
you're
saying?
standing.
We do
It depends on
birthday
your idea.
parties. We've done a
I mean,
funeral.
it's
we've
something
done-
I would think about, but I would think it's out of my price range, and I may be right. But is that something people are doing now?
So I always say it depends on your idea of expensive.
Sure,
But
yeah.
a fireworks show will start at a couple thousand. Our minimum is for indoor type products starts at 2,400. Our aerial shows can start between 3,000 and 3,900, but that includes
bad.
the permits, the fire marshal
Yeah.
being out there,
It's an all-inclusive
of course,
service.
insurance, the
I
custom
mean, if
design.
you consider the risk and the amount I already spend, then it's probably worth it.
Yes.
When's
Oh,
the
yeah.
Risk alone.
When's the Sirens anniversary?
Oh, it's coming up.
We
coming
also
up.
do set pieces of
Yes.
numbers for anniversaries or
Oh, cool.
names for weddings. We do corporate events a lot with their corporate logos
Hold on, explain
as well. So
explain
that's
that.
fun.
Miller Brewing, the
Ex-
Millers
Yeah.
So
logo.
Explain that
We did that actual logo on a huge set piece
on a
for them
firework.
in Louisiana one year.
Oh,
Yes.
like a piece that is.
It's
is-
made
is-
out of rattan.
Okay.
Rattan frame, and then we use what we call lances, different colored lances, and they're just little candles looking things. And then of course, you make the shape of
There's
the
not-
logo out of the rattan, and then you just line it with these lances.
Cool.
And then you use what we call sticky match, and it looks like Scotch tape with
gunpowder,
gunpowder.
basically.
Ah,
gunpowder down the center of it, and then you just join them all together, and then we wire it up and set it off, and it just all goes off.
sweet.
Yeah.
And what's
cool.
that called? A set
A
design?
set piece.
A set piece. Cool. There's
And
a lot more to it.
Randy's done that in conjunction with other vendors as well. He had told me one time there was a company that had changed their logo, and so their old logo was on a balloon wall that took the balloon designer days to blow up, these hundreds, thousands of balloons to make this logo balloon wall. And Randy attached an electric charge to the balloons, which popped them all in about 5 seconds. And I'm sure the balloon guy cried. And and the new logo was behind the balloon wall, burning as a set piece.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
crazy.
fun little addition.
Huh. So you're talking about sets and such. You, Linda, you mentioned history in theater,
Yes.
and is that where some of that comes in
Um,
to your firework interest?
yeah, because I was the production manager down at Theater 3, so I did set building, and I was a prop mistress, and so I kind of knew how to rig stuff, and then Randy taught me more when I came to work for him. So I kind of had a little bit of background as far as working behind the scenes.
Sure.
Gotcha.
And most of us did. I was just in high school, but I was a techie in high school. Derek was integral in Dallas Children's Theater, and his wife is actually still a theater teacher as well. Of course, Randy had the radio, television, film background, but a lot of our pyrotechnicians have some sort of either theatrical or engineering background.
Yeah.
It's kind of who we attract.
Yeah, well, I didn't make the connection with theater and fireworks. It makes sense, especially when you talk about stage,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, fireworks and stuff.
That's probably the funnest thing that we do, I think, is when we can do something a little bit different, and that's more theater productions. We've done Beauty and the Beast, Phantom of the Opera, Nutcracker, a few other productions that I can't think of right now. But it's just fun to be able to incorporate things into the costume. Like for Beauty and the Beast, we were able to make Lumiere's hands and actually have him shooting flames.
Shoot flames.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
How did those light, like during the production? How do they work?
It was
There's
actually
a switch.
and preloaded flash
Like a
paper
battery,
inside.
battery and a
Yeah.
spark.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and we
I
have
love
the ability
fireworks.
to we have the ability to do wireless, so
Yeah.
we can have wireless chargers
Cool.
into things as well.
Well, that
And we do mistletoes.
Oh yes, so
Mistletoes?
Mistletoes.
every Christmas or every Saturday between Thanksgiving and Christmas on a normal year. This year, unfortunately, we'll just have one production of it, and it will be a private event that's going to be recorded. But normal years, every Saturday from Thanksgiving to Christmas at the Galleria Dallas, there is an ice skating show. It's the Macy's Believe show. And they have the little children that do ice skating lessons there do a little performance. And then they normally have either a world champion or Olympic skater that comes out and does a exhibition event. And then they have Mistletoes, the pyro skating Santa. And he has pyro attached to his skates. So when he does backflips or spins, he actually has control over turning it on. And the pyro comes out of his skates. And then we have pyro attached to the tree that's in the middle of the ice skating rink. And it actually shoots up to the roof of the Galleria.
Good Lord.
So it's a pretty fun show if you've never seen it. You can
Yeah,
look up
it's
some
cute.
videos. It's online as well. But if you've never seen it in person, it's definitely something to go watch. It's a fun experience.
Who pushed that
Missile.
legislation?
yeah. I think we know.
What permits do you need for that? Just out of curiosity, do you know? Do you really know?
So indoor, we obviously need a special effect operator license or a flame effect operator license, depending on the type of
Okay.
effect that we're using. And for indoor, we only need a local permit. And we have, of course, the fire marshal on site. For anything larger aerial, we actually need a different pyrotechnic operator license, and we need a local and a state permit for those. So your typical big 4th of July type shows.
Brings up a question for me. If you can't tell, we obviously love fireworks around here. We, any chance we get, we pop fireworks. And I guess it was maybe going into 2019, New Year's Eve.
Mhm.
We overspent on fireworks out at my house, and big shells and all that. And it was fun. And it was for a bunch of guys who just bought it at the whatever the Connex box off the side of the road. We did pretty good, and it made me want to go, let me go on Amazon and see what I can buy. But then that also made me go, is this a wise choice or not? You know?
No,
Like,
No.
it's not.
yeah.
Is there a problem with that?
It's not at all a waste.
Well, I mean,
No, is there a problem with fireworks on Amazon?
Well, I really wasn't thinking fireworks. I mean, I was looking at fireworks, but I was looking at the little boxes, you know,
Right.
The
because
firing
the biggest thing, we
systems.
had like 6 dudes trying to light fuses, you know, and then we're running. I mean, it was horrifically unsafe, to be honest.
Can you do that stuff at home?
So you
Like,
should not do those
should
things
not,
at
no.
home at all.
People try to do what you do. Address that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of framing that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it depends on your local regulations. I'll start with that. Definitely for Texas State Fire Code, anything within a city limit,
Yeah.
which at this point, even some places that you would think is county is city limit,
Sure, yeah.
if they're incorporated at all. So you can really, it's hard to find unincorporated land these days, but if there's any incorporated land in the city limit, it is illegal to fire fireworks.
Sure.
You'll see the signs on the roadside, no fireworks in the city limits. And actually, people don't know this, but that also applies to handheld sparklers.
Yeah.
And it applies to the smoke bombs that a lot of photographers use just to get a really cool picture of smoke
I'd like
in the
to
back.
address that real quick. I've got a little stand-up bit about that. Why is that
Tyrannical government?
Why? No, well, that's part of it. That's the only thing.
Because I got a stand-up bit about that, too.
Okay, well, why is it the only law they want to enforce on the city limit side is fireworks?
I know.
There are millions of laws on the books, like theft. Like I think on the Leonard city limit side it should say we don't tolerate thieves.
Yeah.
Versus don't do fireworks. Because
Yeah.
let's face it,
Don't let
how
your
big a problem is it
4-year-old
really that we
Yeah.
need to address it on the city limit side?
Thief isn't going to start a fire.
Yeah.
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 But they're going to
there's
steal
that.
your stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
But they're just going to steal your stuff.
your stuff. Yeah.
Whereas if you start a fire, it could hit
Sure.
Lots
acres
of
and
stuff,
acres. I
yeah.
mean, that's. I felt so bad for California when I was seeing a beautiful picture of everyone, kind of popping their own thing off in California, and it was lovely across the city. And then,
Oh, yeah. I bet you
one
guys
of
were-
actually, the wife of Randy's best man had posted there in California, and she had posted that then a mountain was on fire, and I'm sure it spread to hundreds of thousands
I
of
bet
acres.
Y'all were shaking
and-
your head, huh?
Right.
Yes. So,
Well-
and you just see so many injuries, and
Right.
especially children. I mean, I've heard, like I said, even the simple handheld sparkler that you would think is no big deal. I've heard people getting their face burned and losing an eye, and
It's a
it just
wonder I
bridal
survived
veils.
childhood.
So is the sign required on city limit signs? The fireworks one?
I don't know.
I've seen it in every
I think
city
it's up
limit.
to the cities. I
It's
haven't
very
seen it on-
common.
But
It's
it's
very
very-
common.
It's common, but not
Why
everybody
is it?
puts
I've
one.
always wondered why it is that one law.
I don't know.
Might have been a problem at some
Yeah.
point, sometime.
It must have been. It's
Yeah.
just very strange.
And I really think people just don't know. I mean, just like the sparklers and the smoke bombs, they don't realize that is included. So I think if it wasn't something that you see every day, people would be
It seems like it should
Using
be the
fireworks left and
same
right.
sign as the icy bridge.
right.
That folds up, like it only opens up for July 4th and then like New
Exactly.
Year's.
I don't know. For some of my neighbors, 4th of July went on for about 3 weeks this year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well,
That was
I mean,
kinda
it's
weird.
2020.
Yeah, that was kind of weird
Give it
this
to 'em.
year anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that was happening all over the place. People
Yeah.
popping fireworks in cities and stuff. It was very strange.
Our friends own a fireworks stand. They said they did terrific.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
It was. I'm sure you guys.
Because people could stay home and,
Yeah.
they didn't have to go out anywhere. They could just do it in their backyard.
Where were y'all for the 4th?
So we
I was in
actually,
McKinney.
yeah, she was working a show. I had the joy of not working shows this year, even though I would have probably rather worked shows. I had enough shows that we could work.
Did you stay home like a Grinch, like you just don't want to do fireworks
I did
anymore?
not.
I don't
No,
like this.
she comes out to the show.
Yes,
Good,
I
good.
love fireworks. And so I actually took my kids to both days, the 3rd and the 4th. So on the 3rd, we were in, and I always forget these, Princeton. Commerce, and Plainview.
I did
Linda was
too.
in Princeton.
Princeton and McKinney.
And I watched Princeton. And then on Saturday, I did work a little because I was interviewed by the news at our McKinney location in the middle of the day. But we did McKinney, Katy, and Trophy Club. And so those were our 6 that we did this year. And normally we do about 30 to 35 shows the week of 4th of July.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a slower year. And we're luckily a good number. We allowed our shows to postpone. So they are taking advantage of that. Of course, the mandates are making that a little bit difficult right now, just because you can't have more than 10 people outside.
Yeah.
For an event. So a lot of our cities, they're like, yeah, this is great. We had a few that had changed to Labor Day. We have one that's stuck for Labor Day, but my other two are in Dallas County. And one of them called and said, we're definitely postponing. I'll let you know what date it will be. The other one called and said, well, let's try Halloween. I said, okay. So it's one of those, it's just all up in the air right now, and we just don't know. But I did think it was lovely to be able to sit there and enjoy fireworks versus working, because it is a long day for 4th of July. For our weddings and corporate events, it doesn't take as long. It's maybe an hour or two for setup. And 4th of July, some of our show sites are out there around noon, and
Doing the semi-trailers.
and they work for 6 to 8 hours loading the trailer, and then you get to watch the show. And one of our pyrotechnicians made fun of me one day because I had posted that we were hiring for Pyro Camp, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute
later. Yes.
And I said, you get a fireworks show at the end of every shift. And he commented and said, no, it's in the middle of the shift because then you have to clean up for about 2 to 3 hours.
Ooh, how's that look? Because it's little shreds
dirty.
of paper everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Lots of cardboard.
My mom complains about that so much.
Aluminum
or
foil.
Did when
Yes. Well, luckily, all of it's biodegradable.
Yeah.
And so most of the major part of it falls around the initial firing site. Obviously, we have a firing site area that is state mandated for the safety distance from the audience. And it could fall anywhere in there. Or if we have a higher show, like that goes 600 feet or up, it could carry paper a couple miles away if the wind's blowing right. But we clean up the big chunks in the middle, and everything else is biodegradable
600
and
feet. Jeez.
Big shells.
yes, yeah.
How many-
We can actually shoot up to 10-inch shells,
Can you
which
get
would
those
go
on Amazon?
no, which would shoot about 1,000 feet in the air.
Good Lord. And that is what size?
10-inch. It looks like a basketball.
Oh
a
my
basketball
gosh.
size shell.
I want one of those.
What size tube is that?
Oh.
A 10-inch
Same
mortar.
10-inch.
So like height wise.
Well, those we bury in the ground.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're all about the same. They're about 3 feet, maybe long.
Huh.
Yeah. But
Is
for the really big shells, you
And
have
that's
to bury
what they're
in the
using.
ground.
Like any big show, you kind of like that's world class sort of stuff. Like
You
is
have-
that what?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
We used to be able to shoot 12-inch, but those got reclassified a few years ago. So now we're
Yeah.
back down to 10-inch.
What's the classification on it?
They're with that
so-
other ISIS.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
you don't want to be in explosives and
Yeah.
called ice.
so we can
so you
shoot
make the connection.
we can shoot 1.3 and 1.4. So 1.4 is basically what you could find at a fireworks stand. Only that's consumer product. We use prosumer product, just a little bit higher grade, fancier.
Right.
And 1.3 is the traditional 4th of July type aerial shells that probably go 3-inch or 2.5-inch and up. And 12-inch got reclassified, I believe, to 1.1. So it was basically an explosion.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see one of those.
Yeah. I was at the Texoma. Did y'all do that one by chance?
We
July
used
4th?
to. We did not do it this
Did
year,
not
but
this
we've
year.
done it for
I thought y'all had.
Gosh, over 15 years.
Many years.
yes.
I'm sure I've seen one up there over the years.
Yeah,
That's
that would've
usually
been
where
us.
I'm at. My birthday's July 3rd. So I'm
Oh,
usually
I'm July 4th.
Are you
First.
really?
First.
cool. You
Yeah.
Not
love
fourth.
fireworks too,
First,
then,
yes.
huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
It makes sense. Yeah, that's usually where I'm at for July 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And Texoma's always been awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've loved that show. That show actually, because that was our biggest show. That and the city of Dallas are kind of our biggest shows of the year. And Highport Marina was always our end of the season. So they
Yeah.
were always like the weekend after 4th of July. And so it was kind of our end of the year celebration was
Yeah.
Highport
Yeah.
Marina.
Any idea on how many boats y'all get on that? Or
How many
got?
boats?
Yeah, like what the
I've been told
spectator
How many
shift
we
is?
sunk? Or
Thou-
what?
I've been told it was thousands and that you could
Yeah.
actually walk
You
across.
could walk across.
Well, we were out there this last year, and it looks like there's a million boats,
Mm-hmm.
but we drifted and not drifted, but we sat there forever, and we were never really close to anybody. It was
Really?
weird. It seemed like it was just like you said, you could walk boat to
Mm-hmm.
boat, but it was. I mean, it's always really pretty to see all those boats.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
Man. See,
James is thinking about enlisting
Well,
in pyro
I was gonna
camp.
say,
that's I was about to transition there, and I was trying to think of something clever, but I can't. Yeah. So Pyro Camp. What is that? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So Pyro Camp is our annual training class, and we get applications from people coming in. Actually, I have a lot of people who call me between Pyro Camp and 4th of July wanting to work for us, and I have to tell them, no, you have to wait another year for us to have Pyro Camp again.
Right.
Because our rule is you have to work for us. You have to be trained in order to be one of our pyrotechnicians. Legally in the state of Texas, you have to have one licensed pyrotechnician, and the crew can be Joe Schmo off the street.
Sure.
So a lot of the other companies have their lead, they train their lead, and they'll get their lead to get the crew. We do things differently. So
Safer.
yes. Oh, yeah.
I like safer.
We'll throw in safer. And we actually have all of our own pyrotechnicians. So they're all part-time employees, and they all have to come to Pyro Camp in order to work for us each year. We laxed that a little bit this year just because we did have limitations on spacing, and we wanted people to feel comfortable. So if they had been with us for a few years, we let them skip Pyro Camp this year. But every other year, if you don't come to camp, you don't work for us, because there are a lot of changes in regulations and that kind of thing from year to year. But so you send in paperwork, and that's kind of our interview process is, can you fill out paperwork and actually mail it back in?
Yeah.
It's tough these days.
Right?
Some people don't know how to do that.
What was it? Randy's favorite question on the questionnaire was, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yes.
Did you pay
And
attention question?
His favorite answer was patio furniture. So I don't know what.
We have some weird people.
Yeah, but we love them all.
Yes.
I mean, they're all great. And if you actually trust the person next to you and know that they are not going to blow you up, then that's somebody that you want to have on your crew.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they mail everything in. We actually have to have original signatures. So that's part of the interview process is, do you understand mailing versus emailing it? And we do all of the ITF background checks before camp.
Oh, I think I'm out.
Yeah. Just lost us.
Yeah, I posted a lot of anti-ATF memes.
Right. And actually,
and
we
then drug tested.
surprisingly,
Good.
we've had people turn down because they were in a bar fight in college. You know, that little things like that could ding you. So children, make sure that you're good.
Don't get into bar fights.
Don't
in
get into bar
college.
fights. Don't make
Or
sure
don't
you
get
stay out of
caught
jail.
anyway. Yeah.
And so once they come to camp, we actually drug test them on site, and then we do periodic drug testing as well throughout the year. I was the victim of that a couple of years ago. I would say that thinking, oh, this sounds good, a sales technique, and then one day I get a letter in the mail, you need to go get a drug test. And I was like, what? So yes, we actually do it.
Yes.
And
Tested positive for crack and PCP.
I thought I was safe.
I needed to make sure I did not eat my poppy seed muffins that week.
Yeah.
And then they have all day. It starts about 8 o'clock in the morning, and it goes until we clean up the fireworks show that night, which is probably about 11 p.m. So we do feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Or donuts. I don't know if you classify that as breakfast.
A one-day camp?
Breakfast of
Yes,
Champions.
it's one-day camp. They do.
Just a
It's always on.
long day.
It's a long
It's a
day.
long
Yeah.
day.
I
It's
imagine.
always on a Saturday, normally mid-May. And we do classroom training and then a little bit of hands-on in the early afternoon to show them how to actually load the trailers. And then more classroom training. We watch a whole bunch of videos just because sometimes we have time to kill. And then we wait for it to get dark, and they go down and they shoot their first fireworks show. And all of the new people, all the new people get to shoot, so they all get a turn. And our veterans who have been with us are the teachers down in the field. And then our leads actually have to have a separate lead training. So they normally stay up and do their lead training while everyone else is down in the field. And then we have our fireworks show. And what I think is so fun about being here in Leonard, and I'm not sure how, actually camp didn't start till it got to Leonard, but I don't know how we would have done this if we were still in Carrollton, but all of
we
his
did a camp in
neighbors.
Carrollton, actually. In
Did
the
you?
office. Yeah. But we didn't shoot anything. We just had class.
So all of his neighbors actually plan parties. So his neighbors would
Yeah,
call
that makes sense.
That's right.
and ask when Pyro Camp was because they wanted to plan their daughter's wedding or their
Yeah,
kid's
I get
graduation
it.
party or whatever,
That's
so they
right.
could
Now
have
that's
this
thinking.
fireworks show.
Yeah.
You got to start
Free
charging
fireworks
like a Wi-Fi password or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, we'll let you know what day we're going to do this if you.
Well,
Right.
usually I'll be at the store at Crossroads and I'll be saying, "Hey, Pyro Camp is this
By the
weekend.
way,
Make sure you come on out and watch the fire."
Park on the road.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
do. They park. Actually, this
Yeah.
year was weird because we did not have that. I don't think any cars, but not that many cars on the road. But
There were a
normally we
few,
have
but not
people
many. Yeah.
lining
All
the road,
the way up the
and
road.
we get cheers from them, from the
Mm-hmm.
neighbors, and it's just fun. And now actually we have a wedding venue, Bethel Rock, which they're on the other side of the valley from us, so they actually face our land. And I'm sure whoever gets a wedding on the day of Pyro Camp is going to get a lovely
Yeah, gets free fireworks.
gets a lovely free fireworks show. They just have to plan it
They get
correctly.
discounts.
No discounts for anyone.
We don't have to.
We're not that
trailer it.
nice. We're not that nice.
Sure.
But yeah, so everyone's trained that day. If we have every couple of years, we have to do a driver's training. You have to be specially licensed to be a driver as well of the
A
pyros.
hazmat driver.
Yeah, I was going to ask how it gets from A to B. Is it set up at
It's
A?
it's
and
in
then-
boxes. Everything is loaded into boxes, and then they're loaded into a truck. And you're either pulling a trailer or just driving the truck. But if you are driving the explosives, you have to have a hazmat license.
Yeah, is that more
Commercial
than a,
driver's
Is that more than a
license.
commercial? Is that commercial
It's
too?
a
It's
Class C CDL.
Class C CDL.
Okay.
It's bad if you get pulled over and get a ticket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even when you're not driving pyro. So.
Then when you get to the site, that's when everything is unloaded out of the truck, and then you start loading it into the trailer or on the ground or however your show is designed.
The whole camp sounds kind of like skydiving. Going out to the sky.
Learn a lot in
Like
one day.
Going through a little class, like everybody gets prepped to do it, and then you go out and like do your first show.
Well, and it's funny.
You jump out of the plane.
The first year, you're very scared. I think everyone's very scared their first year.
Deer
They're
in
very
the headlights look.
yeah. They're
I
very
really don't feel like it's my
gingerly-
first year though.
The first half of the day, you second guess like why you're there, and if this
Well,
is your
and even if you played with consumer product, that's not what this
No,
is.
of
Yeah.
course,
So
I joke.
it's you're very ginger with it. You're very careful with because obviously you have to slide the shells down into the mortar pipes, and you're just very careful. And my first year, Derek came out to do something at the field, and he just pulls them up and starts not tossing them in, but just he was just doing it like as he's talking, and we were like, "Can you please stop?"
I
were
put
so
artillery
scared.
shells in by the fuse. Are you pulling them out by the fuse like that? Or y'all have tools, or
Well,
how's that work?
some of them have a string on it, and we will lower them by the string, not
lowering
necessarily
string.
the fuse, because the fuse will break.
Yeah.
Into
And
They
pieces.
got to be
so
pretty
bueno.
heavy. A basketball
it'll-
is pretty heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jeez.
They'll have a string on it.
I blew a hole in my dock this year. My parents' dock, actually.
We've
He
actually
did.
had a few
Nice.
people that have called us, and because they've been out in the country or been at a lake house or whatever, and they've shot their own fireworks for years and years, and then all of a sudden they burned a tree. So they call us and they're like, "We're pretty much paying the same amount buying fireworks because we buy a ton of
That's
them.
what I'm saying.
You might as well come and just do it for us professionally."
The
do it.
risk
So,
is
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
worth it alone.
Yeah, we have the insurance.
yes.
Yeah.
That Guy
can't-
Fawkes party that year where we had
Yeah.
some Vietnam flashbacks.
My dad got hit in the chest with an artillery shell. It was
Oh,
bad news.
good.
Pandemonium.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So knock on wood, I think we've used our workers' comp maybe once, and it was because someone fell off a ladder and bent
Yeah.
their pinky the wrong way or
Okay,
something.
so I can ask if
So-
you had any mishaps or anything. You guys have good.
yeah,
track
We
record
have a
and-
pretty
I
good
think
track record.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've done pretty well.
So we can talk about that one in Plano.
If
That
you
was-
want to, but that
It
wasn't
was
us.
not us.
Okay.
And
Well, that's good
really,
to clarify, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and things happen.
course.
I'll
Yeah,
give it.
and
Yeah.
we understand that.
Yeah, and I'll give it to them that they shut it down actually fairly quickly, because obviously when you stop a fireworks show, it's on a chain, so
Yeah.
things
So
are
it
still
doesn't
going to go
stop.
off.
And everything can
Yeah.
light.
Yeah.
Everything can light. Yeah.
What
It's
happened?
not funny on it. It's not funny.
I'm a
but,
little out of the loop. What happened?
It
there?
did happen. Something malfunction. You guys probably
That was this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, July 4th.
Yes, and it was pretty sad because the poor firemen who were out there trying to battle this blaze were also trying to battle one where some people went out to the park and set off some pyro, their consumer pyro, and set the park on fire.
Oh, man.
So it's safer if you do it with us. I mean, we've got the extinguishers, we've got the fire department, we've got the insurance.
Right.
I mean, we got it covered.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine.
Did anybody get hurt at that one?
No.
No,
Thank
nobody
goodness.
was
I
hurt.
think it was all good.
There was some coming out towards the street in the video that I saw, but everyone was far enough away.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We obviously we have a Texas state mandated safety distance that we need.
Yeah.
And that's 70 feet times the diameter of the largest shell. And for a radius from the audience. This is where all of your math that you thought you'd never use comes in.
Yeah.
I
I just put a alphanumeric formula together in my head.
Right? And normally we add, well, also a lot of the fire marshals add another 30 feet. So they do 100 feet times the diameter just to give that little extra for wind and that kind of thing. So you do have the space, just if anything.
12-inch shell,
Or to go-
100 feet,
Yeah, well, 12-inch shell.
plus 30.
Yeah, would go, let's see, 1,000. You're making me do math.
times 75.
So 1,000, you would have to have 10,000 feet radius. So you would have to have a 20,000 foot. Is that right? A 10-inch shell?
No,
I'm
sorry,
told-
I was just
I
doing some
need a
light
pen
math.
and paper. I'm sorry.
Sounds good to me.
She gives me a
Calculator.
calculator.
Here's
So
your pen
The
and
kid
paper.
gives us a calculator.
if we have a 12-inch shell, we need a minimum of 140 feet
Okay.
radius, which would be a 1,680 foot diameter circle.
Okay.
But that's the minimum. So yeah, you would definitely want to add for wind direction on that one. Anything over 5 to 6 inch, definitely 6 inch, but sometimes 5 inch, we add more for wind direction. But the good thing about how we do our shows for 4th of July is we actually use a trailer system. And so all of the mortars are pre-built on the trailer. So there's definitely reduced risk of things falling over. And also we're able to move the trailer even if it's loaded. I actually had to do that. I think last year the fire marshal came out. We had already loaded the trailer and he wanted us to move about 10 feet. And so I had to drive with a golf cart, a fully loaded trailer. That was a scary situation. But yeah, so we can move the trailer, but we can also crank the tongue up and down. Is that what it's called?
the front of the
Absolutely.
trailer.
The tongue up and down.
Hitch.
And so if we need to move it into the
Like a
wind.
mortar shell.
Yeah, when things are blowing into the wind versus out of the wind, that kind of thing. So we have the versatility of being able to do that.
Stable ground is usually the cause of my incidents.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
That you need stable ground?
Yeah.
It's not the drinking beforehand?
No, it's the stable ground in the dock, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we
A
actually...
vibrating dock, 'cause that's usually a big blast.
Well,
to knock something
you're going
over.
to get some bounce if you got it on a dock.
Stable
you're gonna
ground
get
is
some
like
bounce.
just for
Yeah.
the home user.
Definitely. Well, and we...
Very good advice.
The home user shouldn't do it at all. That's the best
Right.
advice we can give. But yeah, we had one show this year who actually talked to us about, because obviously people wanted to move show sites or move them to higher elevation, things like that, so that more of their people can see them from their cars or from their houses. And we had one city that wanted to move pretty much on top of a dirt mound. And I didn't realize how loose of a dirt mound it was till I actually went out there the other day because they've postponed. So we went out to look at a couple of the show sites and we told them no. We were like, it needs actual solid ground for us to be on because this just, even if it's a really fancy dirt mound, that just
Gonna
is,
move.
Right.
too much risk. So you definitely do need some stable ground.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Do you have do you guys use like the personal consumption fireworks like at the stand?
So
You'll
ours,
buy- I mean-
ours is actually called Prosumer.
Okay.
It's purchased from other companies. It's obviously a higher grade, higher quality, more expensive, but higher grade product. And it's also vibrant. It is better timing, that kind of thing.
Probably just a lot more consistent, right?
Than you would buy at a
Yeah.
fireworks
Yeah.
stand.
Oh, yeah.
But for some of our little, because we have some really small cakes that are maybe 6-inch round, and we actually stabilize those, even though the ground effects boxes are all just set on the ground versus the individual shells on a trailer. So we actually stabilize those boxes with just, some
Plywood
flat,
and
yeah,
brackets.
flat plywood and some brackets around them just to make sure that they don't tip over.
Cool.
Because that is
Probably should
a
have done
concern
that.
for the smaller
That's my problem.
smaller product.
Do y'all have like favorite childhood fireworks, or like what was your relationship with fireworks as kids?
Oh, I do. So I used to spend my summers in Boston.
Yeah.
My aunt lived in Manchester by the
Need
Sea,
that fancy
like the
button.
movie. Manchester by the
It's a
Sea,
gun.
Massachusetts, which the movie was based on.
Cool.
So I grew up there all during my summers,
It's a
probably.
horrifically sad movie, too, by the way.
Oh, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it actually.
Really?
My aunt wanted to watch it just to see what was there, but I'm not sure if she did yet. But yeah, I grew up there. I was probably 4th grade through 6th grade maybe, and her next door neighbor was actually the home builder, and was quite well off, and they had a yacht that actually had a few bedrooms on it,
Oh, wow.
living room, kitchen. Yeah, it was fancy. So we went into the Boston Harbor on 4th of July, and we stayed on their yacht, and we were halfway in between the Boston Pops in the shell and the barge where they lit the fireworks. One of the people on our boat actually got a little burn mark on her jacket. We were
Oh,
that
wow.
close
Cool.
to the show.
Yeah, star
And
here.
we watched the
They didn't do that math right, did they?
right? No. And we watched the fireworks. And it was fun because people had, and I'm not sure if this happens at Lake Texoma as well, but some people wanted to be out on the water, but they did not have a boat. So they would bring, it was like plywood, and they would basically paddleboard with their plywood, and so they would start sinking.
As it got waterlogged.
We would have to rescue them. But yeah, so we watched the show, and we listened to the Boston Pops, and it was magical. And then we spent the night on the yacht, and we went up the harbor.
I'd
the
love
channel
fireworks
that
too,
night,
hanging
yeah.
out on a yacht
No
in
doubt.
Boston Harbor. My God.
Never mind. I don't have a story.
So
I was on a pontoon in Texoma. Jeez.
that was my favorite childhood.
Yeah, Linda.
Fireworks show.
Some guy throwing up over here in Texoma, you know.
Oh,
listening to a little Kiki or something.
Or like, Willie Nelson for president shirt on and stuff.
Oh, we shoot his picnic, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes,
cool.
we do.
Wow, that's cool.
Yes.
That's cool.
Mine was, I guess, I don't know if I should say this, but my uncle was a police officer. And, of course, they were many, many years ago. He would confiscate fireworks from people who brought it into the city.
It's probably what they do with the drugs, too.
And
Yeah.
he would bring them over to our house, and we'd go out in the country.
That's
Is
awesome.
Is that contraband? Is that
Yeah.
what they call it?
Give me that
Yeah,
contraband.
what's it
kid.
called when it's what's it called when it's in possession of the police?
Contraband?
Contraband.
That did
Yeah.
not pull up on her ATF background.
Yeah.
But, yeah. This is going
Hey, I
on.
was a kid.
Do I have to edit this now?
We might need to
my
revisit.
dad
Yeah,
made
we'll
me get in
edit
the
it.
car.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Statute of limitations
Yeah,
is out
yeah,
on
I'm
that.
sure you're good. You're good. I used to love the black cats as a kid, you know, and remember the first time
Favorite.
one popped in my fingers.
Yep.
Mm.
Because they say don't throw them, and that's the first
That's the
thing
first thing you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roman
Yeah,
can. Well, when I got good at lighting them and throwing them, I achieved that level of childhood or boyhood. That was a good day. Roman candles were always fun, of course.
I got the like it popped in my palm. Well, and I can still feel it.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
just kind of, I was like, all right, I'm done.
A few years, this was probably like 6 or 8 years ago. Randy actually bought 3-inch Roman candles, and he was so excited because they came. I mean, just like a Roman candle, it came in a stick, and it had a couple of shells inside of it, and
It's like this.
you you could
Jeez.
technically, I guess, if
Take
you
your
really
arm
wanted
off.
to, hold it and shoot 3-inch shells out of it. But so he built some holders for it that are specially designed, and we have 3-inch Roman candles. So
That's cool.
that's fun. It's
How
good
much
times.
are they?
we need to do a show.
Man. Yeah, this is where we YouTube content.
Personally, I like the snakes and the little chickens
Well,
that shoot
I was going to
things out
bring
of their
up
bottom.
I was going to bring the snake up
Yeah.
because they actually found a product that makes the snake useful. And I call it Poopy Puppy.
Oh yeah, we did a poopy puppy this year.
That's the best firework I've seen in a long time.
That's funny.
And the snake is useless. I'm sorry, I don't like the snake.
I like the snake.
I like the snake.
You like the snake?
Yeah,
Paige?
I'm a snake girl. Yeah.
I think that's the best use for the snake.
Oh, that's funny.
When they came up with that, all it was just cardboard.
Well, I just kind of get a kick though. Like I like the snake too, but if you think about it, like you're a kid, and you get down there and you light it, and this black carbon expands, and you're kind of like, yeah,
Yeah, the army tank.
After you sit there for 20 minutes and hold it. Have you ever done what's called it's a horrible name, a bang bag? It's not a
college
pyro
once.
effect. Yeah, right? That's what I was like, I don't know if I want to say this on this radio station. But
I was there.
it's basically a little bag. It's not a pyro effect at all, but it's a little bag, and it has baking soda and vinegar in it, I guess.
Oh.
And so you break the vinegar vial,
Yeah.
and the baking soda starts expanding, and then it just
Bangs.
the bag explodes.
It's not just a clever name.
It's
a bang bag.
bang bag.
It's a science experiment bag.
So those are almost as fun as the snakes.
Yeah, all right. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. What is your personal favorite firework now, though? Like, what you do? Prosumer.
Prosumer.
Yeah.
So I still to this day, after being here for 9 years, don't know exact names
Well,
other than certain. But I do like all of the shapes that we've had, especially this year. We have cat faces and smiley faces and stars and
That's
hearts, and we had a foot, but the foot was weird.
And that's just a matter of the Chinese manufacturers getting better, I guess.
Well, and Randy would actually call them and ask them, "Can you build this?" And they would say yes, and they would send it to us. And so he had a lot of things that were custom designed. I think at one point he tried to do states, because people always ask us, can we do their name and fireworks and that kind of thing. And I think we did like a state of Texas, but once it got up in the air, it looked like Illinois or something. So that doesn't really
It's all
work
about
out.
perspective.
I like the
probably.
one that's okay, but then you see it from the other side and it's KO. So it's like,
I don't know.
oh yeah, it's Oklahoma. Okay,
It's good if you're like in Oklahoma and
Yeah.
Texas is having a fight,
Yeah.
Exactly.
like a
Exactly.
octagon fight.
There you go.
But we do have something called a ghost shell that kind of looks like the Reunion Tower ball where the lights chase.
Yeah.
So when it first explodes, only a kind of a crescent moon of lights light up, and then the lights chase around the firework.
Oh.
And so that's actually really pretty. And I saw a couple, I think there was one at Princeton, which I was surprised to
I
see
had
at
one at
Princeton.
Leonard
but
Picnic too.
those are actually really pretty as well. And there's kind of a joke at the farm. Randy used to write bids, obviously, before I started with him. And one bid that he wrote, he was explaining the show and, how wonderful it was going to be and what he was going to do with his design. And he explained that all of our shows have a signature mark of a white dahlia at the end of every show. And we all looked at him and we were like, we have never in our lives had a white dahlia at the end of a show. But he put it in the bid and he just thought it was magical. And so I mentioned earlier we have bees. So our bees are the white dahlia aviary. So it's kind of a
cool.
running
Yeah.
joke
Right on.
with us
Yeah.
on the white dahlia.
That's cool.
Yep.
It's-
I like the falling leaves.
Oh yes, we
assorted
have
color
one actually
falling
called, it's a ground effects box called Celebration in a Box. I don't know if we've used it for years, but it's definitely a celebration in a box. I like that one too.
Well, were you with us when we had Century Dawn?
Yes.
The boxes?
Yeah.
Those suckers weighed like 200 pounds, and it took 2 pyrotechnicians to carry it.
Wow. How many
It was
shots
a
is
big.
that?
It was a big, tall, heavy freaking box.
Yeah. Some of them have like 100 shots in each
Yeah.
Wow.
or more.
or more. Yeah, and it's just a whole bunch of different stuff. It was the Century Dawn, and everybody was like, "Do we have one of those on our show?" And then we like, "Yay, we don't have one on the show. We don't have to lift it because it was so heavy."
Huh.
So, and this has probably been covered or at least implied, but if I just get lucky on a scratch off and I'm like, oh man, this is a great, this is the perfect amount to do a fireworks show. It can be done at any time during the year, right? Like if I
yeah.
go through y'all,
Oh,
call
yeah.
y'all.
Yeah, we actually, we obviously do New Year's and we do a lot of Christmas displays and 4th of July, of course.
Explain the photos of like engagement shoots and stuff like that? You can kind of coordinate them for a photo shoot.
Yeah.
So we are right now offering our land, which is obviously up in Leonard, and for I think an okay price. You can come out to our facility, and again, we have 80 acres out here, so it's beautiful land with beautiful pecan trees, and we also have our warehouse, which is an industrial building, so we've had some people call us wanting to do music videos and that kind of thing as well, just because there's that industrial aspect of the building there too. And then we add fireworks in when it gets dark, so you can come out and have full use of the land, take pictures for either family portraits, engagements. We've had a lot of engagements come out. Yeah. Well, no, not so much. You have to bring your own photographer.
Okay.
But you can use our facility to get ready if you have a hair and makeup person that wants to come in. But we've had a few style shoots out there, which a lot of the wedding vendors use to advertise their services. And we've had an engagement shoot. Haven't had anyone get engaged. I've actually gotten a couple of those questions since I have started marketing this opportunity, and I'm not sure. I think the surprise might end when you're about 45 minutes out of Dallas and the girl's wondering where the heck you're going, and you just show up to someone's property. But
we did that in Fort Worth.
Yeah,
we shot at the Water Gardens, and there was a gentleman. We were finished loading our products, so we were kind of on downtime, and we were just sitting there, and this gentleman walked up to us. He said, "Can I ask you something?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I'm going to ask my girlfriend to marry me." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Can I tell her that the fireworks are for her?"
I don't care what you
So
do.
I went, "Okay." I said, "Where are you going to be?" He said, "Down here." And what he did was he took a bunch of just little candles, little tea lights, and he had put down, "Will you marry me?" and tea lights. And then behind was where our fireworks were going off. So he did the proposal because we told him what time we were going to start shooting, and it was spot on when it started to go off.
That is awesome.
You just have to time it correctly if you don't actually pay us for it.
Yeah.
But we have been paid for. We've done a set piece of "Will You Marry Me?" We've had people that just want it to go off whenever they, the girl says yes. And
so let's say you're doing engagement photos out at your land and you want some fireworks in the background. Is that somewhere we set up the photographer and say, "Okay, fire."
Yes.
And they fire, and the photographer takes advantage of that.
Right.
Well, and the good thing is we offer a few boxes, so you can kind of have, especially for style shoots, we have it where we shoot one box and, they take whatever pictures. Well, then you can move. So you can, change the whole set if you want, or what's in the background. And
that's cool.
And then we can start again. So, yeah, it gives a little...
It's a neat way to offer what you do for an interesting... event, I guess.
Yeah.
Did y'all just start doing that?
Yes, it was our pivot. That's the worst word of quarantine, but it was our pivot for this year. So we'll see how it goes.
No, that makes sense though. Yeah, absolutely.
And really, I mean, I think I've kind of had back and forth comments on the price, but I think for the fact that you get fireworks and you have the land, I mean, I know some venues that charge $1,000 to $1,500 just to come and take pictures at their venue. Yeah. So, and they don't have fireworks. So.
It's crazy.
Well, people don't know what it takes to get the caliber of what you have, I'm sure.
Correct.
And all the, a lot goes into it.
But yes, but we can definitely bring the fireworks to them as well. We're licensed right now in Texas and Oklahoma. As I said, we used to be international, but after 9/11, it was a little hard to ship explosives. So we now, mainly stay in Texas, but we are licensed in Texas and Oklahoma. But we have, for 4th of July especially, we do shows down in Katy. We do shows in Lubbock, Austin. So we go all over Texas. And we shoot all year round. So a lot of people think that this is a seasonal opportunity. And even for the employees, whenever I go to job fairs and look for employees, I always tell them it's kind of a make your own gig because you come to camp, you have to work 4th of July, but the rest of the year we send out blanket statements. And if you want to come, you can. And if you don't, you don't. And
do they sell their own gigs or you guys are selling it?
I'm the salesperson.
She's our salesgirl.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I'm sales girl. I was hired as sales girl, and then I became sales princess, and then sales queen. And now I'm toying with chief marketing officer because
Nice.
I didn't really like co-owner. I don't know. So, but yes, so I am the salesperson for the company. So I handle everything from marketing, networking. I'm also kind of the networking queen of DFW, so I do a lot of networking. But networking and the face-to-face with the clients. I also go to the shows. I'll go to the wedding tomorrow dressed as a party crasher to just deal with the DJ really and make sure that everything's going smoothly as far as coordinating the start time of the show.
She'll sell it. I'll shoot it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Set them up, knock them down.
That's right.
Exactly. And then, of course, 4th of July, my personal show is Dallas Country Club. And so I'm the lead for that one every year. And we try to keep, for our bigger 4th of July shows, we try to keep the same leads to the same show if we can each year, just so the client's comfortable with them and they're comfortable with the setup and everything. And it's just old hat. So
Yeah. What are you guys on social media? Facebook, Instagram.
we are
YouTube.
We are on everything.
All right.
I actually just started the TikTok.
Good timing.
I'm very old. Also started the TikTok, which is probably going to get taken away. But and I've only done one, and I learned that TikTok is a time-consuming ordeal. So
James, I should have called you James TikTok.
I know. I had a little bit of accidental success with TikTok. I was a consumer of content. I had one dumb video on there, and I felt the same way. I was like, this is kind of hard.
took forever.
Yeah, it's not intuitive. And anyway, but I always watched the videos. I thought they were funny. I got the Corona, and I made a video of getting on hydroxychloroquine and all that and getting better. And just a little 60-second thing. I woke up and had like 300,000 views and I had 3,000 followers.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was like, oh man, now I feel like obligated to make content, but I haven't. But
Now he does dance videos.
yeah, shuffle dance.
And there's a few people that, wedding vendors too, because I didn't think TikTok was pointful at all, but there's a lot of them that have had tons of success with it. Venues, that kind of thing. So I had one venue that sent me a few videos because I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? But I do have teenagers, so so they helped me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we are on TikTok a little bit. We are on Pinterest also a little bit because I didn't know you could do that for business either. We're on, of course, Facebook. I'm old, so that's my favorite. Facebook.
that's
We
what I'm
are
most-
on Twitter, but I just don't like Twitter. So
Twitter's terrible.
we're there, but we don't actually do anything anymore. But Instagram, definitely.
Yeah.
And then we have a YouTube channel. At one point, I'm going to start a YouTube blog channel as well, but that's been 3 years in the making and hasn't started yet. But we do have a YouTube channel with our videos on it of some of our shows. But all of it is Pyrotex US. Because when I started, there was a Pyrotex also in the UK, and they had already taken Pyrotex. So
Got it.
we are Pyrotex US on everything. And then our website, of course, is pyrotex.com.
TEX, by the way,
Yes.
not
Got it.
TECH.
Got it.
Yes, PYROTEX.
Why would a UK company say Tex?
Right? I know. And there's also another company that does fire alarm systems and oven mitts. And
Oven mitts,
they're
yeah.
up north and they're called Pyrotex. I think they're in Ohio somewhere, but every once in a while I'll get emails of, y'all didn't install my fire alarm system right. And I'm like, yeah, that's not me.
I get I have my Gmail address is jameshartley1@gmail.com, and I get a lot of emails from Australia to jameshartley at gmail.com, and it's always like, hey, you missed our appointment. I'm like, you got the wrong guy.
That's not me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
This is one.
Yeah, this is James Hartley 1. I was the second quickest to Gmail.
Yeah.
But we also offer, in addition to the photo opportunities, and then of course indoor, outdoor pyrotechnic displays, we also now offer what I am not going to call cold sparks because they are not cold, but there are spark units, which are like sparkle fountains, which we've used for years and years for indoor displays, but they just have a little bit less smoke. It's a different type of product. And then we also offer confetti cannons, and our confetti cannons we actually custom built. And so we had rented a few confetti cannons from some of the local companies beforehand for people that wanted pyro and confetti. And so we partnered with a couple of AV companies that had rented confetti cannons. And
What's that consist of?
it's
Confetti.
Yeah,
Is it,
confetti
is it kind
cannon.
of like a fan-shaped cannon with?
Yeah, it just has a
hopper?
tube. It has a tube, and normally there's like a little compressed air canister. And those are the ones that we have rented in the past. And the confetti, you push the button and it kind of goes, out of the cannon, but it didn't ever blow up in the air. Oh, sorry, up in the air. So, so we actually custom built these confetti cannons, and they're an air compressor for the most part, and they shoot between 30 and 40 feet in the air. We have rice paper, which is water soluble if the venue doesn't want the cleanup afterwards. We have tissue, of course.
What venue wants cleanup?
Yeah.
Right. Well,
That's our best seller.
there are some that are okay with
we
the,
love the cleanup.
there's some that are okay with the tissue paper aspect, and some that are very not okay with the tissue paper aspect. And then, of course, Mylar streamers. I was actually asked the other day if we could do bird seed, and I was like, well, we technically could, but I don't know if you'd want to.
Like bird shot. What are you talking
Yeah, that would hurt.
Pretty sure that would be painful.
I built
so.
a couple of custom cannons myself, but the
I saw a
ATF did not approve.
I saw a confetti cannon at a Flaming Lips concert in London.
There's that fancy
I'm
button
gonna toot
again.
my fancy horn again.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Wow.
It was very cool. Hyde
Yeah,
Park.
so those are fun. So that's something that we can do if they don't want to permit, or like I took one out for a birthday party. Actually during almost the shutdown, I think it was a few months. It was probably in May, and they had wanted some sort of pyro something in their yard for a show, but they wanted it the next day. And I was like, well, there's no way we can get permits and stuff in time. I said, or I can bring out a confetti cannon. And so I just did that. And so
Cool.
if they can't have permits or don't want to get permits for whatever reason, we can do confetti cannons as well. So those are fun.
Sweet. Y'all have a lot of fun. I got
Yeah.
some fun
Yeah,
toys.
we do.
I feel like we missed out.
I know.
Kinda. I think
Should have gone
I
to
think,
pyro.
my life rode wide at one point, and I went right, and I
Yeah.
should have gone left. My gosh,
Oh my God.
what happened
Yeah, there's
here?
microphones going everywhere.
Yeah.
You just
See?
spilt your microphone and your drink.
Luckily, it was dry.
It's all right. My phone's going off.
I was gonna say,
Everything's
that's
going
not mine,
crazy
is
over
it?
here. Sorry about
So
that. How unprofessional.
I know. Sorry, this is our
It's
first
pandemonium.
podcast ever.
Well,
We've never done this before.
which is a perfect segue because this is the part of the show we call 5 questions,
Yep.
Oh, no.
where we just ask 5 questions out of this
Scared.
bucket.
Okay.
Okay. I was
And-
wondering what he was pulling out of that bucket.
And I think maybe you answer from Randy's perspective if
Oh my
if
god.
you feel comfortable answering the
Okay.
question
Okay.
because he sounds like a character.
yes.
Yeah.
He, yes.
Oh.
He
So
was.
if you can,
Bad-
if you
bad
feel
dad
comfortable
jokes.
answering
He
the
was.
question,
Any bad dad
bad
joke.
jokes. Yeah.
oh great, perfect.
Pretty
I think
good at
it's
those.
Yeah.
But what was bad was he would try the joke out on me first.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And then I would have to listen to it every time he would
If you roll-
tell it
if you
to
roll-
everybody else.
if you roll your eyes, he knew it was a good one.
Yeah. All right. So, what album, song, or artist is playing on the stereo or radio or whatever
Lyle
right
Lovett.
now? Lyle
Lyle
Lovett.
Lovett,
Randy was
yeah.
a Lyle Lovett
Oh, he
fan.
loved,
For Randy?
he
The
loved
first-
Lyle
Yeah,
Lovett,
that's for
yes.
Randy at
That's for
Lyle
Randy.
Lovett.
Okay.
The first Mr. Julia Roberts. Lyle
Yes.
Lovett.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's right.
They were married, weren't they?
Yeah,
And
they were.
I'll say a little personal thing. So I'm weird and superstitious and whatever. So I don't know how it started. I think it was right after Randy had passed away, and I heard a bunch of songs on the radio in order, and all of them were kind of related to things that he liked or something that was at his funeral or things that we'd used in the show, and it was just a whole bunch of them at once. And then all of a sudden it became that Randy talked to me through the radio. So anytime that there was some like a little song that had some personal something about Pyrotex, it was just him giving me advice. Anytime that it was like U2,
Oh, yeah.
I
We
still
did that
haven't
for the-
I still
for the
haven't
funeral.
found what I'm looking for
Yeah.
was his song that we played at the funeral. If that comes on, he's yelling at me about something.
Yeah.
But our first wedding back after quarantine, the DJ played and it was Lyle Lovett, and it was you're not from Texas, but Texas wants you
Anyway.
And Randy loved this song, and he loved to play it for corporate events when they were not from Texas, because they always wanted to do some country
just
thing.
eat that up too,
And
probably.
right after our show was done, like the second it was done, the DJ put that on, and I'm like, what DJ in God's green earth plays Lyle Lovett, You're Not From Texas, But We Want You Anyway at a wedding?
Yeah.
And so I went down to Linda and I was like, I don't mean to make you cry right now, but something's going on.
That's cool.
Randy's very excited that we're back
Wow.
after
Yes.
quarantine.
That's
so
crazy.
anyway, little side story, sorry.
No, that's cool. That's great. It's your turn.
Wasn't DJB, was it?
No, I don't.
That's my brother.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
That'd have been even more weird.
Whatever.
Next question. Have you ever climbed a water tower?
I hope Randy never climbed a water tower.
Maybe not climbed it, maybe shot off of one, but
Yeah.
not climbed it.
Shot fireworks off a water tower?
Probably. Well, we actually we had talked to we do a lot of stuff at Six Flags, and we had talked to them about shooting from their oil derrick.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I know the show that Linda referred to earlier with the Miller Coors set piece. That show, whenever we got there in New Orleans, there was a tent or something set up in the parking lot, and so they ended up having to put the entire show up on a boom lift.
Boom lift.
Wow.
So yeah, we've done a few shows that are up on a boom lift. Those are fun.
So
All right.
Cool. Go for
So
it. Question 3.
what would your last meal be?
last meal.
That's your question.
Be,
I don't know what Randy's last meal. Those little peanut butter crackers. And
Well, he liked Florentina's, so he was a
Ah.
big Mexican dinner
Oh.
fan.
He didn't have his
Yeah,
name on the
he-
menu, did he?
Well, he had them. He would get the mole, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
And he would have them make what he called Randito sauce. so they kind of called this sauce Randito sauce. So whenever he would say it, they would know what to bring.
That's cool.
and bait. He liked his sushi.
Oh, sushi.
So he had to go
yeah.
get
Oh, yes.
I'm
He
a
always
sushi
said, "We're
guy.
gonna go get bait."
Yeah. That was sushi. Big
I
time.
think I might
sushi
usurp that. Yeah.
Question 4.
Yep.
When was the last game of pool you played?
My God.
For me, it was when I was in elementary school. But
Whoa,
wow.
way
I don't
back.
know. Yeah, one of my friends had a pool table in her game room, so we used to play pool all the
You
time.
get a
Yeah.
pool table up here.
I don't know. When
Mine,
did-
mine was probably at the ice house.
When did Randy play?
The
Actually,
Katy Trail Ice House? Yeah. Original or Plano?
Original.
Yeah.
Actually, I need to start looking for a pool. What are they called? I would say bowling alley, but a pool table
Hall?
alley.
Pool hall.
Pool hall. Thank
Yeah.
you. That will let children in, because for some odd reason, my father fished a pool cue. Who knows where my father got a pool cue? I've never seen him play pool in his entire life, but he has his own pool cue, and he fished it out of the attic the other day and gave it to my child.
So now they're eating you
Who's
up about
14,
going to.
and so he just, when are we going to go play pool? When are we going to, you don't even know, I don't even think you've ever seen a pool table.
You walk in, smoke billows out of the. You know.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah.
yet.
I'm like, I guess I could take him to main event or something, but
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
All right.
Bring your own stick, guy.
exactly. In a
Like
bag.
it.
It's
Yeah.
completely
Oh,
in a
cool.
bag.
But it's his first time playing. It's
Vintage,
gonna be
too,
really
yeah.
bad. You know. Best and worst job you've ever had.
Well, Randy was fired by Ron Chapman, so he might say that was his,
The one
his
at
best
KVIL,
and worst
yeah.
job. But
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
So for me, I do love Pyrotex, but my dream was to join the FBI. So I actually was a detention officer for 3.5 years and an intoxilizer operator for the city of Carrollton. And so I grew up there, so I unfortunately knew people who came into jail periodically.
Sure.
But so that was fun. But yeah, I really did like law enforcement. That was kind of my thing. But
Cool.
blowing stuff
Best
up
job
is
is pyro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is blowing
It's a
stuff
close
up.
I agree with her.
My worst job was when I worked for DART as oh my God.
Do you not want to say it?
Sorry,
I was a police dispatcher for DART.
You almost blocked it out.
Yeah, and it was so chaotic because not only did we handle the HOV lanes. We handled the trains. We handled the buses. And I wasn't there but a few months. And when
like,
I
nope.
saw one of the head dispatchers go into a nervous breakdown and be taken out on a stretcher because it had started to rain and she knew that there were going to be accidents everywhere, I said, that's not where I want to be.
I'm going to go play
And
with
that's
explosives.
and I left. Yeah, I'm going to go blow something up. I'll feel better.
Well, Dart, just in the trains, man, it gets pretty dicey down there.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
some bad areas
Yeah.
and crazy stuff happening.
I'll give them kudos. They do an amazing job, but I didn't have it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
No, I'll say corporate America was my worst job, and I don't want to. Randy always used to say we're going to have to find another or a real job. We don't want to have to find a real job.
That's
so
actually
we
the
work
number
here,
one
so.
most worst job ever is corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
That's the answer we get.
Well, that's my life, but
But actually, event planning is in the top 5 of most stressful jobs.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
It's first responders, basically firemen, policemen, I don't know if doctors, but yeah, it's always top 5 is event planner.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a level of expectation that you have to meet, and people are increasingly entitled, so
Oh yeah,
if
like
the
one-
littlest thing goes wrong, the
we had,
bridezillas.
had the girl that wanted all the pyro in pink.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
do that?
Yes, but
You
Randy
can,
told her
but we
not
wouldn't
to.
do it
Yeah.
because it would look horrible. It really
Yes.
would.
Yeah, because it was actually a 10-minute show, and yeah, she wanted all pink, and then she
Yes.
wanted one red shell at the end. And he was like, "You want 10 minutes of pink."
Yeah. Do you know how fireworks work?
Right.
You also got to
Exactly.
consider the complaint factor of that person
Yeah.
too.
Well, you dodge
Because
bullets
it's
there.
exponentially higher than a normal person
Well,
who doesn't care what
Yeah.
the
When
display
she
looks
walked in with a purse with a puppy in it, that's
Yeah.
when we knew.
All
That's when we knew.
Yeah. We're just going to give this one lip service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like. She wasn't on a TV show, was she?
She could have been, but
Right.
Probably eventually.
yeah, eventually.
Well,
yeah, we like it when people can be creative, and we have actually one of our pyrotechnicians, the one that we were talking about with The Simpsons. Him and his wife are very fun, and they actually planned their fireworks show. He actually designed. He basically
designed
told
his own
Randy what to
music and
do. So he had
everything, yeah.
designed his own music. He told him which boxes he wanted to use and which places and that kind of thing. And it started out with the set piece of the Twilight Zone elevator. Right, Twilight Zone, and the Twilight Zone theme, and then it went into the Simpsons theme. It went into Disney. I think there was Little Mermaid. It was about a 10-minute show, but yeah, it was all the
Right on.
Yeah, it was awesome.
all
It
sorts
was
of different
awesome.
songs. And we had one the other day that I probably wouldn't have recognized because I'm a girl, but our Patrick called me and he goes, "This ends with Die Hard," and I was like.
yeah. Best
okay.
Christmas movie in the world.
It was actually the groom had created the soundtrack and sent it over to us, and yeah, it ended with the Die Hard something from the end, I guess, from the ending credits. I was
Too
like,
cool.
okay, whatever you say, I'll just believe you. So, but yeah, whenever we get like Bruno Mars 24 Karat, we're just rolling our eyes, or Katy Perry. If we hear Katy Perry
Oh,
again,
Yeah,
we
imagine.
Baby, you're
gonna
a
go
firework.
crazy.
You know who's got good
Randy
pyro?
hated that song.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah.
They've
yeah.
got good pyro.
yeah,
We
but
go-
that's another one that we got sick of.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, Ukrainian bell carol
For
over
Christmas.
and over.
Over and over.
Well,
Yeah.
and Randy would always start 4th of July after Christmas and Christmas after 4th of July. So anytime, and I can't hear Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. It's just one of my things.
That's
that
kind of
drives
my
me-
thing too.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. And so anytime I would go in the office, he'd be playing Christmas music, and I was like, "You need to stop. I just can't with you right now."
Well,
We just
did-
went an hour and 22 minutes,
We
which
did.
I think
Wow.
Randy
did.
would be proud of.
I
Yes, he
think so.
would.
I think so.
We met our match. So thank you all very much for what you do for the town and the
Oh, you're more than
Leonard
welcome.
Picnic. And that was a beautiful display that we got to see. I'm glad y'all responded too. And I just said, who did that and how can we interview him? And,
Yeah.
and you guys came in to talk. So we appreciate it. And James, you got anything?
No, I appreciate the flexibility. I know we kind of
Thank
had to
you.
move it around a couple times.
Well,
but-
and if anyone's looking to come work for us, we are happy to have you for next year. We can always put you on our list to contact whenever we do start sending out paperwork. So give us a call, and you can visit our website, or you can contact me directly at paige@pyrotex.com. And if you are looking to do a show, like we said, we do weddings, corporate events. We've done
Birthday parties.
2 funerals. We do.
Oh.
We've done a baby's first birthday, but we've done gender reveals.
Sorry, the funeral thing. My wife would like to be put in a firework. Do y'all do that?
So I
Just real
actually
quick.
That's actually illegal.
I
Is
actually
it?
researched. Yeah, I actually researched it. It is possible, but you have to be over. Basically, you would have to shoot it on our land because you
Right.
have to be over private land.
Yeah.
Or you would have to know whoever's land you're shooting it off of.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of regulations that actually
I
go
can
into
im-
doing
But
that.
it's
But
possible.
I can imagine the bureaucratic red tape that
it
you have
is
to
possible.
get through.
Yeah, I actually researched it because I talked to a funeral planner who you could send him money and you could plan your own funeral before you pass away. And so we looked into it for him. But no, we
Sounds
had
like Randy did.
we had one funeral that was a celebration of life, that was actually a construction project that the gentleman had been working on was starting. And so we did the construction project kickoff and celebration of life at the same time. And then we had another one that was a Viking funeral. So
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
actually
That was for a doctor in Dallas, actually.
yeah, they actually set the boat on fire with the flaming arrows, and then the fireworks show started
Wow.
as the boat
Yeah.
was burning.
That's about my
that's-
speed.
That's pretty cool.
So it was
Yeah.
pretty neat. But but yeah, I mean anything and everything that I'd love to do a divorce celebration fireworks
Yeah.
show. I mean
This
you know,
is the
anything.
Viking area of Fannin County. So
Yeah. Boy, do we have something in store for you.
And we've got Labor Day coming up. So we have a few shows, like I said, that I postponed to that. Halloween is fun. We actually have a really cool Harry Potter show that has been designed but got nixed because of a burn ban. So if you ever want a Harry Potter themed party, let us know.
This is
we got
also
a
the
show,
Harry
Set
Potter
show for it.
Fannin County.
But yeah, just give us a call. We are here, and
pyrotexus.com.
it's pyrotex.com, and then any social media, we're Pyrotex US.
US.
Got it.
I thought I heard the US. Well, thanks,
Awesome.
Thanks again. It's been a pleasure, and keep doing what you're doing. Y'all are killing it.
Thank
Yep.
you.